All right, guys, welcome back to Latin. Voices off, please stop talking right now. 3, 2, and 1. All right, guys, the Christmas calls were a little early yesterday because it was still technically November. But now it is December, so that's good. All right, what just got passed out is what we're going to do today. Remember, the homework is still due tomorrow, Wednesday. That is 1 through 5. And then we'll maybe finish the one we didn't get to yesterday. Well, we'll play Jeopardy on Thursday, I guess. And maybe we can squeeze in an Among Us at the end of Jeopardy. I'm not sure. And then on Friday, we will have a translation quiz, and I'll pick 2 of these sentences. Per usual, you guys know the drill by now. Internet kids, they just got passed out a story about these 2 fellows, and I made a post on Microsoft Teams with this attached, this reading that we're going to go over. Okay, so this reading is one of the mythology readings that we have every chapter. It's not one of the most exciting ones, and it's not a very well-known myth, but it is one that's it's got some drama to it, and it's a story. It's about 2 minor characters in Aeneid, which is a poem that we've talked about before. You guys will read it in the 9th grade. It'll be like a big part of your ancient literature class in the 9th grade. Aeneid here. This is the most well-known Latin epic. It's not the only Latin epic poem, but it's one of a few major ones. And you'll be reading it in 9th grade in English, a translation of it. And by that point, you'll be almost ready to read it in Latin, which is what this is, which is kind of cool. But anyway, it follows this guy Aeneas. You know, we've talked about this Trojan guy who, after the Greeks break into Troy with their horsey, they burn down all of Troy. And Aeneas is one of the last dudes from like the royal family, and he guides his family and like the other remaining 50-ish or so, I forget, Trojans from Troy, which is in modern day Turkey, over in what we call like the Middle East nowadays, sort of. He travels around Greece. This is Greece right here. He's traveling west, kind of like Columbus. He makes some stops. Most of them are very violent and ill intentioned. He stops in Sicily, where my people are from. His dad dies there. Then he goes to Carthage in Africa. He falls in love with a woman. He ditches her in the middle of the night because Mercury tells him he has to get to Italy. She curses the Roman people forever. Then they finally make it to Latinum, or Italy, right? Which is like, its ancient name was Hesperia or Latinum or Latium. And they settle their people there, but only after they kill a lot of people who are already in Italy. Because go figure, there's already people in Italy. So when Aeneas and his people get there, they try to be peaceful initially, but because which goddess? Juno hates poor Aeneas. Venus, or Aphrodite, is his mom. She's on their side, but Jupiter's wife hates the Trojans, and she stirs up some trouble and basically causes a war to happen in Italy. Virgil makes it very clear that it's like the gods' fault and not really too much Aeneas' fault, but it's kind of Aeneas' fault too. So anyway, he is a colonizer hero, a little bit like Christopher Columbus. Yes? That is his dad. Yeah, his dad is kind of elderly at this point, so this is like a famous kind of symbol, an image of Aeneas fleeing, burning, sacked Troy, where the Greeks are wreaking havoc and kind of killing all sorts of people back in the city while Aeneas is escaping. And he's carrying his father because his father is like elderly and can't really get around easily on his own, or can't run at least. And that is Iulus, his little son. He's going to come up in the story today. He probably has clothes on in the story and is a little older. This journey takes it doesn't take as long as Odysseus' travel, which is like happening kind of at the same time, right? When you read Odyssey, that's just a story of Odysseus on the Greek side, after the success of the Trojan horse, getting back to his home, which is like right here to the west of Troy. It's not as far as Aeneas needs to go, and yet it takes 10 years, but mostly that's because he's hanging out on an island with his nymph girlfriend for like 7 years against his will. And he gets like blown off course and lands in Sicily at some point. That's where the Cyclops are. But yeah, like these journeys away from Troy are happening at the same time. Aeneas is leaving Troy because he has to find a new home. He is a Trojan. Odysseus is leaving Troy because he's a Greek and he beat the Trojans. He has to get back to Ithaca, where Penelope is being harangued by suitors. And people like Menelaus and Agamemnon have to get back too. Agamemnon gets back to Mycenae just to get killed by his wife, spoiler, because he's kind of a bad guy and she's evil also. But anyway, this is the plot of Aeneid. The first 6 books of Aeneid, the first 6 chapters, we call them books. That's the journey part of Aeneid. It's the Odyssean part where he's like doing a lot of sea travel, trying to settle in certain places, and it doesn't work because they start digging into the ground and like the ground starts bleeding for some reason. There's all these weird curses that plague them until they get to the right place. And then the last 6 books are the war, the Iliadic portion of the Aeneid, where he's fighting these Italian people because I guess the gods stirred up some trouble. But I kind of blame his son for shooting a sacred deer. Okay, so this thing, I need this thing to move. So there's a lot of glossed words, and they are on the flip side of your paper. So let's follow along. I want you guys to write down the translation as we go, obviously. But maybe more importantly than that would be to write vocabulary words on a refresher sheet. So the refresher sheet I handed out yesterday, you can add words to that, words that we actually have in our vocabulary, not the ones like the Rutulians. That's like a equal. Don't worry about a word like that. There are more over here as well. And again, you can make that up. If you got a 0 on that, if you didn't get it handed back to you yesterday, you can make it up. Just go get one on the white table, hand it in with at least 10 words on it by Friday, and you get some points. I'm shocked that some people aren't willing to do even that much. Yes? Yeah. I just filled it up this morning. So I will say, that seems like a really good way to spread some kind of virus. So be very careful when you're handling the jug and all that. All right. So, Aeneas, Troianos, contra Rutulos, Ducaebat. Okay, what are the words that we don't know here? No one knows contra, right? No one knows that. Contra means against. Kind of like when we say pros and cons. Pros are good things. It's a Latin preposition. Con is a shortening of contra. So Aeneas, and then we have these Rutulians. So one difficulty in reading Homer's epics and Virgil's are the ancient geography terms and the terms he uses for like ancient peoples that nobody knows about. Apparently in Italy there are these people called the Rutulians who were there before Aeneas and his Trojans got there. This is not, I don't think, really a technical term. We do have a word for the people in Italy before Greek colonizers got there, and that is Etruscan. So maybe these Rutulians are kind of like Etruscans. But these are some of the people that Aeneas has to fight when he gets to Italy so that he can settle down there with his people and make a new Troy, a.k.a. what will become Rome. If I see Nathan throw paper again, you can chat with Mr. Killingsworth at some point today. It should be fun. So we have Rutulians here, but it is a second declension noun. So it's not any kind of grammar that is hard for us. And Troianus, Troiani is like Trojan, just like Romanus, Romana, Romanum is Roman. So, and Ducaebat is a verb we have. Does anybody want to take a crack at this? Contra means against. Rutulos means Rutulians. Basically, you have to figure out what Ducaebat is and like what your subject and your direct object is. Carson, what do you think?
Aeneas teaches. Or
not teaches.
Leads.
So, yeah, leads. Good. Leads.
Trojans.
Against Rutulians. And it's not just leads, though, because it's Ducaebat.
Well,
No, would that be bit?
No, it was leading.
Was leading. I'm sorry, that would actually be Duquette, because it's third conjugation, this Duco Ducera. So it sounds like I should add Duco Ducera up here while y'all write this out. Duco Ducera, third conjugation is to lead. And then Dokeo, Dokeiri is to teach. And that is second conjugation. So yeah, I'm kind of glad Carson briefly made that mistake, because that is something that's going to plague us from chapter 8 on, are these accumulating verbs that start with the letter D. There's too many of them. But remember, Duco, like a mother duck leads her ducklings around a pond. Dokeo, like a collegiate professor with the title doctor, teaches his students how to read Latin. All right. So they're just setting the stage. They're like, this is where we are in the poem. We're at the part where Aeneas is leading his poor Trojans who have been wandering around the entire Mediterranean for, I guess it's like at least a couple of years. It's not as long as Odysseus. I forget. I taught this poem last year, and now I can't remember how long it takes them. But anyway, they're very tired. They have a rest point for a little while in Carthage when Aeneas is like kind of falling in love with this Carthaginian queen. But that doesn't last long. Then they get to Italy and they have to fight even more before they can settle. Yeah. No, I don't. Oh, and the pimp, dang. Does someone like take huh? Or was that like a health issue? There's only 2 left. If you can come get one of these if you want. It's usually way more. Or like the colored pencil. Where do the colored pencils go? Did YMCA just like jack them? Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Doom knocks Erat at Copiae Dormieibant. So what's that French song like Frere Jacques Dormez-vous? Isn't that something about like go to sleep or something? This means to sleep. Dormio dormire. It's the 4th conjugation verb, which we won't get that conjugation until chapter 10, but it's just like third, except it has an I, R-E in the infinitive. Who cares? Nox is knight. It's one of my favorite Latin words. Dux is leader. It's like the noun version of duco. And then castra is camp, or it can be camp. So in Doom, we have, does anybody know Doom? What is Doom, anyone? That's a newer word. It's kind of hard to remember. Huh? It's while. While, and so how do we put these words together? We have the word for night. What is erat, anyone? The form of sum esse. Anyone? What does sum esse mean? To be. So this looks, erat, that third word, it looks third person. So sum esse, it's that verb that means to be. It's a little irregular. So the third person version of sum esse in the present is est, right? It means is. I'll tell you, erat is similar to est, but it's not present tense like est, E-S-T is. What tense do you think it is, Kayla? Good. So we would translate it like what?
Like it was.
Yeah, it just was, right? Like is, like was is the past tense version of is, right? Est is, erat is was. If there was an I after the R, if it was erit, like Ritz crackers, it'd be it will. So how do we put these words together? We have like while, we have night, we have was. How do we put that together in a way that sounds like good English? You might need to be a little creative. Because while night was sounds weird, right? What can we? How do you say that it? Oops, I'm just gonna give it away. But like if there is rain outside, how do people usually say that there is rain outside? I'm trying really hard to not say it. Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. If we call it an impersonal construction, when people say it is raining, it's like, what do you mean it? Like, is it referring to the sky or weather? Like, it's referring to the state. Like, what is the it in that sentence? Who really knows? It's called an impersonal construction, and it's just like a weird, quirky grammar construction that happens in English all the time. People say, oh, it's raining. They're like, what do you mean it? Like, you mean, anyway, I already... The sky, I guess, is what people are talking about when they say it. But it's not really like the way we're thinking about it. Anyway, like, how about while it was night and what? Copiae dormieibant. We're in the same tense as this one with dormieibant, and it means to sleep. So copiae dormieibant. Who is sleeping and when are they sleeping? Present, imperfect, or future? Anyone? E-learning kids, y'all can please speak up if you want to take a stab at this.
What was
Would
the
it
question?
be was sleeping?
And who is sleeping?
They.
Yeah, they, but we actually have a nominative, a plural nominative right next to it, and that can be our they. So it's going to be, so while it was night and the, what's copiae? Anyone?
Troops or
Yeah.
supply?
Troops, very good. Yeah. While it was night and the troops were sleeping, the leaders, okay, this is third declension, it's the plural of leader here. The leaders, what? Troinorum? Troianorum. Leaders, which leaders? The leaders, what case is Troianorum, anyone?
Genitive?
Good. So Carson, we might translate it like what?
It would be the leaders of the Trojans.
Yeah, the leaders of the Trojans in the camps, and this part's kind of weird, so I'll just kind of give it to you. They were holding, usually concilium is more like planned for us, but a note on the back of this paper tells us we can take it more like meeting. They held a meeting in the camps. So there's a war going on. It's kind of boring, honestly. I mean, this part of the poem is not. I found more things that were interesting about it reading it last year when I taught this class, but it's kind of just war. And after reading Iliad, you're good on hearing about these random encounters between ancient Trojan people and, in this case, Italian people. But no, there's some good drama going on. But anyway, at this part of the poem, they're kind of just having this war, and there's other things that go on eventually. You'll find out in the 9th grade. But at this point, they're really just fighting. It's like an action movie. All right. Is that too fast? No, this part's pretty cool. I don't know. I don't know which half of Aeneid I prefer. There's a lot of good stuff in the first half for sure. Okay, ad os nisus Euryalus que Euenes Troiani audint venire. Okay, there's a lot we got to gloss here, but not everything. So we're going to talk about these two guys. These apparently are two young Trojans that are going to be the center of our story for whatever reason. We don't know exactly if Virgil knew of some local myth about these guys or if he just made them up. It's kind of unclear. But at this point, it's worth mentioning the Trojans are a hardened, elite group of mostly just men because they left all their women and children on Sicily just before they got to actual Italy proper, right? Sicily is this big chunk of an island off the tip of Italy. And that's where the Catalanello clan is supposedly supposed to hail from. And that's where all the women are. And so these are some of the younger men that are with the Trojans here. So let's see. Nisus and Euryalus here. Those are the subjects of the sentence. I'll just tell you that's their nominative form. I don't have it glossed below. So Nisus and Euryalus, who are they? Euenes apparently is a new word that means young man. They are young Trojan men. Let's come back to add posts in a second. What do they do? They audint venire. Venire is kind of a new verb, right? But audeo is not. We've had that for a while. Audeo is truth or dare. It means to dare. So Nisus and Euryalus, these young Trojan men, dare to. What does venire mean? Does anybody know? We have it, right? Or do we not have it? Maybe we don't. Is it glossed?
Yeah, it is. I know.
It is. Oh, so that means we don't have it. What does it mean, Carson?
It means to come.
It means to come according to the back of the paper. We're going to get it in chapter 10. Because, again, it's from something called the fourth conjugation, the final conjugation we have to learn for verbs. Chapter 10 is really easy. It's a really, chilled out breather of a chapter. Because fourth conjugation verbs are just like third. So, anyway, they dare to come add. Now, add, I know y'all do have, but y'all haven't seen it too much. It means, don't let Carson answer it. What does add mean, Kaylin?
To.
Yeah, so they come to, they dare to come to, and then what do we do with hosts? What's going on with that? What case is it? Okay, it's from Hikkaikai. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely have this big poster up here in your face, but, it looks
These.
enough where you might not even know that it's from Hikkaikai. What was that, Ella or Caitlin or whoever?
These.
Yeah, good. And what gender is it? Because we want to add something to these.
Masculine.
Good. So we could say to these.
I don't know.
Well, masculine. Think of it like it's masculine people. So it'd be.
Men.
Yeah, very good. Awesome. So to these men, Nisus and Euryalus, young Trojan men, dare to come. So just to put this in context with the last sentence, they talked about these leaders of the Trojans holding a meeting. And now Nisus, these two young guys, they're going to these men. So very good job. I think that was Caitlin. Because remember, Hikkaikai, it's annoying how many forms there are, but it really is just this or these. If it's singular, it's this. If it's plural, it's these. And then sometimes it's important to know what gender it actually is. Not even all the time. In this case, though, it is important to know because we want to be able to add men. If it was women, it'd be HAS. It'd be HOS, these women. But yeah, it's like they could have put Duques there. They could have said odd host Duques, the Duques from last sentence leaders, like these leaders. But they didn't need to. They just needed to refer back to them with a single demonstrative pronoun. Oh my gosh. Okay. And now I thought I made this thing go away. I could have swore. Yeah, like shoved it over here. Okay. That's the one way that Teams is actually kind of better than Zoom, because it doesn't have these weird things floating around. Yeah. So guys, day 2. We're back here for. I half expected, honestly, that maybe yesterday evening we'd get like an email at 6 o'clock saying like, "Hey, so don't come back. We're shutting down again."
Could come tonight.
Huh? It could happen tonight. Yeah, no, it could. Who knows? I think we'll make it through the week, and then next week I'm not so sure about. But I also wonder if we make it through next week, if maybe we would just voluntarily not come back for midterm week and have y'all take midterms online. And maybe at the end of next week we could like send out forms, like honor code forms, where if you sign it, it's like, I will not cheat on the midterms, because that's lame. Don't do that. But midterms, it's like we could do those online pretty easily, you know? I don't know. All right. Either way, we're down. If we don't include today, there are 13 school days until Christmas. Pretty good. All right. Oh, Magni Weary Dicit Nisus. Who can translate that real quick for me? Oh, it's not. Oh, Magni Weary Dicit Nisus, that first part. Carson?
Oh, great man.
Not just man, but
Hero.
who said men? Yeah, it would be plural here. Oh, great men, Dicit Nisus. Says Nisus. Do y'all have Dico Dicera? Oh, why would they not give y'all Dico Dicera in chapter 8 when y'all first get third conjugation? Let me see if it's glossed. That's how you know. No, I think y'all do have Dico Dicera. Oh, it is. Dang. Weird. All right, Dico is to speak. We get words like dictionary and dictate from it and dictator, and a lot of words that are related to like speaking or speaking clearly. So, oh, great men, says Nisus. Let's just look at that so we can move on. If what? So Nisus, this random guy, he's this young Trojan dude who's best friends with Euryalus. For some reason, they're really good friends, these guys. We're told by Virgil. At this point in the poem, this is like more than halfway through the poem. We haven't really heard about Nisus and Euryalus, but also they're like here. It's like Merry and Pippin from Lord of the Rings or something. And they're best friends, and they're not super important, but they're going to be important for like the next 100 lines of the poem. So if what? Let's skip may. We talked about yesterday, may is usually like a direct object. So I don't know what to do with it yet. So if, let's just keep going until we find a verb. If, oh, here's a verb, mitatus. A lot of this is lost. Mitra means to send. But even if we're just finding out that it means to send, Aiden, what person is mitatus there? The first, second, or third person? Good. And it's plural technically. So our subject is what? I, you, it, we, all, they. Yeah, very good. So if you all, again, this is Nisus talking to like Aeneas and like other elder Trojans who are like in charge of everything. He's like, hey, if y'all send me, then what? Cum means with. Y'all are just about to get cum. It means with. There's a lot of words in here that like are just about to get. If you all send me with what? With obviously Euryalus, right? Euryalus. Ad castra rutulorum. Remember, the Rutulians are the enemy. And castra is camp. Now, what does ad mean, anyone?
Does it? Or,
Yeah, go ahead, Ella, or whoever that was.
doesn't it mean like from? Or no, that's.
Yeah, be careful. Ex means from. Ad means to. So if you send me and Euryalus, Carson,
It would be
to the. I'm
not sure if I'm going to say this right, but Rutulian or something.
Yeah, like to the camps of the Rutulians. The camps of the Rutulians. Then we see something we saw with the first time yesterday. Non solum, ... said etium. And this is where Nisus tells him what he would plan to do if he's allowed to go with his best friend to the enemy camp. That he would, who remembers what we said yesterday about non solum sed etiam? I think we got to it, didn't we? Not blank, but no. So not only, remember when we see non solum sed etiam, it's a very distinct construction. That means not only ... but also ... Did we not get to that yesterday? You're very quiet. Okay. Let's see. So nekabimos. Who can translate nekabimos? That's a violent, awful word. Nekabimos. And who will kill, Danny? First, second, or third person? Not he, bimos. Think about it. Yeah, wait, what was the last one you said? Yeah, it's we, because it's first person plural. So, and listen to how Danny said will, because it's what tense? It's future, right? Very good. So, not only will we kill, what is this? Anyone? Out loud? Out loud. Say it out loud.
Many men.
Not only will we kill
many
many men or humans, that is fine, but also, and it looks like there's another direct object, but it gets its own verb. This means to capture or take. We will, it's third conjugation. We will capture, and this means loot, much loot, ex illis. We will capture much loot ex illis. So now we have illit up here, just like we saw HOS last slide, and it was like these men. What is illis gonna be? Huh, Devin? Close.
That.
Close, but is it singular or plural? Carson, what is it?
Plural?
Yeah, it's plural. So what's the plural of that? Anyone? Not these.
Those.
There's those. So I will snatch much loot from those. And at least actually, if y'all look at this is an ablative, plural. And it's the same for all three genders. So we don't know, but I mean, we know it's men though, right? Even though it's like we don't know this is technically masculine for sure, they're talking about men, right? So it's gonna be men. Yes, so from those men. So be careful about that. That's one of the big things right now is that if I'm holding something in my hand, it's gonna be this or these, and if I throw it across the room, it'd be that or those. So sometimes you do that to stop and you're like, wait, what's the plural of that? Would it be these or those? Oh, it's those, because that and those go together, and this and these go together. And I'm totally not confusing myself by talking about them. Nathan? Yeah. All right, and then somnus means sleep. Has anybody ever heard the word insomnia or somnambulant if you're a sleepwalker? You have insomnia?
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody every once in a while has a brush with insomnia, especially like if you have time off in the summer or something. And then somnambulance means sleepwalking. So that's the subject there. Sleep, and inim. I think you'll actually have inim. It means like in fact. Sleep, in fact. Habet istos. Who can translate? This is the way Nisus is trying to sell his plan to Aeneas. He's like, hey, if you let me and my friend go to this camp, we will not only like kill a lot of those dudes in their sleep, which is certainly very crooked, and that happens in Iliad too. Odysseus and Diomedes do that to some sleeping Trojans, and it's like, wow, very brave of you. But he's like, not only will we do that, we'll also take a lot of treasure, and the reason why we're able to do this is because sleep, in fact, habet istos. He's
In fact, these men have to sleep.
Good guess, but he's personifying sleep. He's actually saying that sleep has istos. It like, so habeo is usually just like has or holds, but it can be like possess or I guess like hold. But it's holding istos. How do we translate istos? Somnus is the subject. Really? Running out? Really? It seems early. Okay. Guys, if it kicks you off, I will restart it almost immediately, and you can just rejoin. No? This is a little hard. Nobody? Just my e-learners and Carson today? So it's those men. As in, like, it's like holding those men. Hold might be even better. Sleep holds those men. I would actually use holds if I was you guys. Y'all get what that means? He's just like, it's just slightly poetic. I guess he's personifying sleep, which there is a Greek god for sleep, It's Morpheus, but he's kind of like not a god that gets talked about a lot. But
So does that kind of mean that they're in like a deep sleep?
that they're in a what?
Like in a deep sleep or something?
Right. Yeah. As any soldier would be, right? If it's the middle of the night and like the skirmishes are done for the day, I guess the soldiers are probably gonna be sleeping like a rock. After working so hard, digging trenches and riding chariots around, throwing spears at people and dodging arrows that are mortally hurtling towards their skulls. All right, pretty good. So this is what they want to do. They want to sneak into this camp when sleep is holding all of these Vertulian men prisoner as Morpheus.
Are those all the people that they killed, or are they just sleeping?
I think at that point they're just sleeping, but I guess we don't really know. Let's find out. Animos virtutumque aurum juvenum. Remember, this just means young man. His third declension. Juvenus means young man. Laudo. So this is, well, we're going to find out who it is, but I mean, they tell us down here. It's Iulus talking, who is related to Aeneas. And what does he say, anyone? It's important that you look at this last verb, this last word first. What does he say about these boys? When he hears Nisus and his violent, cunning plan, what does he say? He says,
Does virtue quem mean I forgot what quem means.
remember, que just means and. It means an and is to be understood before the word is attached to. So it's something about animos and virtue, right? It's obviously virtue. But look at laudo, guys. How do we start the sentence if laudo is the verb? Anyone?
To praise and have virtue.
Let's find out. Let's see, Jake. Is laudo first, second, or third person? O-S.
First.
Yeah, it's first. So our subject is what, Sam? Is it I, you, or it if it's first person? O-S-T, 1, 2, 3, as in first, second, third person. And the pronouns that go with that are I for first, you for second, and it for third, or like a nominative for third. So what would the subject be? I know I just said a whole bunch of stuff. Alora or Maddie, what would the subject of a first person verb be? Is it I, you, or it? It is I. Yes. So that is like literally the first day of Latin, right? You definitely need to kind of be pretty dang comfortable with that by this point. The OSP must assent thing. If you don't understand this, please come to my essay and talk to me about it, or let's do a tutoring or something. But OSP must assent is the most important thing. If you don't look at laudo at the end, remember that it's a verb for our very first chapter, and then think, oh, and it's first person, so the subject is I. Then that is kind of an issue. So this is the person responding to the kid's violent plan. He's saying, I praise what? Animos virtutumque are going to be the direct objects. Anyone?
I praise the virtue.
Yeah, the virtue and the animos.
The spirit.
Yeah, and remember, animos is definitely spirit or mind, but in the plural it can almost be like courage or pride. So I praise the courage and the virtue, aurum juvenum. Aurum and juvenum go together. They're both what case? This is kind of hard. Aurum is from Hikaikaklo. Look at our chart. It's a little small, but it's not too small. Where's aurum? That ending should actually look like something you got, Natalie. Good. They're actually genitive. So it's like the courage and the virtue. What? Something. Aurum, young people. Of
these young men.
Yeah, good. So Natalie, I'm getting Caitlin and Ella mixed up in terms of your voices. But yeah, of these young men. Since it's from Hikaikak, it's a plural genitive. And so you can actually see that on the chart. So it's of these. And we don't need men because it's actually going with EUN, so it's specifically young men. It's not just like men. So I praise the courage and virtue of these young men. Exclamant what do y'all think exclamant means? If you had to guess, it's a verb. Yeah, exclaims Iulus. This is the son of Aeneas, and that's literally the next lines. I just gave it away, but that's fine. Exclaims Iulus, son of that Aeneas. Sometimes illa is used to like be like, oh, that really famous guy. Like it's like pointing out something that's really well known. And Iulus is kind of like, in a way, the namesake for the clan that Julius Caesar is from, the Iuli, which are like this like really long-standing rich family in Rome that eventually produces the first emperor, or the godfather of the first emperor. All right. Very good. All right. Well, later, nunc venient Nisus. So yeah, this guy hears Nisus' plan. He's like, yeah, you know what, kid? You sound crazy. You want to kill a lot of people in their sleep? That sounds good, man. Like, you sound really brave, and I praise your virtue and your courage. And I'm the son of Aeneas, and I shot a sacred deer who was sacred to the Rutulians at the start of this war. And so even though Juno, the wife of Jupiter, is meddling right now, I, Iulus, technically am kind of the problem here and the reason we're going to war in the first place. So I'm the perfect person to give you guys a seal of approval. I approve. So farewell. Now they come, Nisus and Euryalus, in Costra. Costra's from Costrum. This is something that's been introduced. When N takes an accusative instead of an ablative, it's actually going to be N2. They come into the camps of the Rutulians. We'll just kind of gloss through that. And then this second sentence actually gets really interesting. Necant unum to multos alios. Who can translate that? This is messed up, man. This is messed up. Rated R.
Have we had unum?
Yeah, we got unum. When I look at it and I'm like, have we? But we have. We'll make sure to review the vocabulary next week if we don't get to it this week, because there's some really important vocab words this week. And we were obviously e-learning before Thanksgiving break when y'all did the vocab quiz, which y'all did pretty good on that, but maybe like you forgot them over the break or something. But everyone has played Uno. What does Uno mean? Anyone? It means two?
Yeah. It means one.
It means one. So yeah, you could probably, if you had to, you could probably guess the Latin numbers if you ever heard any of the Spanish or French numbers, right? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, like it's very similar. It's unus, duo, tre, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo, novem, decem. So they're very similar to French and English ones, and they show up in a lot of like prefixes and various words. But anyway, so necant. What person and number is necant? Grace, is necant their first, second, or third person?
Third person?
Singular or plural? So we're probably going to use what pronoun as a subject? I don't see a noun plural around.
They?
Yeah, because we're probably still talking about the brothers. Or not, they're not brothers, they're friends, Nisus and Euryalus. So they, what? Anyone who wants to finish this nasty, violent sentence off?
I do.
Let's have Carson and whoever that Caitlin or Ella was at the same time. It was Caitlin. Caitlin, what do you think? And then Carson.
To kill one, then many other.
I mean, pretty much, kind of, but not to kill. It's not an infinitive. It's what Carson, it's like what Grace said. It's
They kill
yeah,
one.
they
then
kill
they
one.
kill
Then it's kind of like they kill more. It's then multos alios.
Then
Then
they kill many more.
many, not quite more. It's kind of more.
Many
Others, very good. Yeah, this is a weird that I not. Let's make that slide. I guess I. Then they kill many others. So alias. Oh yeah, I have that glossed. So I should be able to get that. Julians. They kill one, then many others. So multos alios are obviously going together. They are what kind of object is multos alios? Anyone out loud?